All right, everyone. I want to talk to you a minute about maps. A lot of people these days, they like to go digital everything, and that's entirely their right. I'm old school. I was taught in the military to use paper maps and to always have one with you. These days, I've changed the kind of map I use, and this is a demonstration of exactly why I do it. I'm going to show you how I do things, and I'm always going to use this as a reference from now on so that you guys can follow along just like me, using the same books I use. The company I like to follow is Benchmark Maps. They make the best maps that I've seen because they use historical information as well as modern. I'll give you an example of that here in a second. It always comes down to the kind of map and when it was made. Benchmark 218 6th edition is the book that I use. So if you have a Nevada map from 2018, the 6th edition, the page numbers and where I point to will be exactly the same in your book as it will be in mine. The next thing I like to do is on top of the first page, which is just basically blank, there's not much here, I put packing tape on either side. And then what I do is I use normal Scotch tape and I tape a page onto that packing tape. That way I can take it off and on as many times as I want. And on the page, I'll put the page number and the point of interest. The reason I do that is because I can take off this page and the packing tape will still be there and I'm not going to damage the paper later on. It's a good thing that I use and you can use it now too. Anyway, the place I want to show you this time around is a really cool place called Project Faultless. I'm going to go to page 69. Now, you'll also notice that I use these little tabs. Let me get him up close. Now, you use these things, you get these things in Office Depot or wherever you buy your school supplies and stuff. And they're just these little tabs. You pull them out, you got a little piece of tape on them. Well, all you do is stick it to the page near where it is you're going to want to go, and then you put an arrow, you type what it is, you write what it is that you're going to see at that location. Now the page I'm looking at is page 69, and they have letters down the length of the page and numbers down across the top and bottom of the page. The place I'm looking at is in Bravo 7. Okay, this is the site of Project Faultless. This happened in 1968, and I'll go over some of the details there in the video. This is a nuclear explosion that they did back in 1968, 3,200 feet below ground. And I took my mom there. I've always wanted to see it, and now we have. So that is Project Faultless. Now, you come across the highway, almost across the highway directly, and there's another road. This is Lunar Crater National Monument, okay? This is on Delta 8, okay? Same page, page 69, Delta 8. Okay, now this is where the Apollo astronauts trained on craters, on how to navigate them, on how to drive the lunar rover through them. This is where that occurred. And so these are the two locations you'll see in this video. Now what I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to break out these books whenever I shoot video, and I'm going to show you where all of that occurred. Now, those of you who saw my previous video, that was Cathedral Gorge, page 77. That's why I write that. That's why I keep that page there, because you'll never remember page numbers. Now, once again, you'll see that I put stuff all around, and these are points of interest. Now, Cathedral Gorge State Park is literally right on Highway 93. It's on page 77, and Cathedral Gorge is on Bravo 9. Right there, right next to the highway. And so this is what you got to see last time. And the only reason I didn't put this on the last video is I forgot to bring in my tripod. So anyway, now you know how I look at maps. Now you know some of the tricks I use. And you'll be seeing a lot more of this in the very near future, because you're going to see a couple of more adventures that I went on down in Nevada. And this is how I do it. Now you can do it too. You're gonna have to apologize in advance for the wind noise. I'm out here in the middle of Nevada, in the middle of nowhere. And this is ground zero for Project Faultless, a 1 megaton thermonuclear detonation that occurred 3,200 feet directly below this spot. 1 megaton is 67 times larger than the bomb detonated at Hiroshima or Nagasaki. And I'm right here, ground zero. This video is for Jim and Cynthia of Wings and Wheels, Alaska, because they're always telling me to be safe. So what better way to be safe than to come here and see this incredible sight. Now there's a plaque here that I'm going to do my best to film. Go ahead and pause right now and read it. Okay, so now you've read it. Notice the date, January 19th, 1968. This was right after the Tet Offensive in Vietnam. So you can imagine the political feelings that were going on right after this. Now, why is this thing sitting here like this? Well, when this thing went off, the ground was right there. When it detonated, it all settled down here. There is a huge chasm right beneath this thing. And those things, well, that thing will be there forever. It's radioactive. But I thought I'd be here and see this place just for those two people. They know who they are. And they can all have a laugh. But here you've seen it, out in the middle of nowhere in Nevada.
All right, everyone, this is the Lunar Crater National Monument, not far away from Project Faultless. The wind noise was so bad here, it was up over 40 miles an hour. My gimbal wouldn't even work, so I had to hand film all of this with my iPhone. This is one of the sites that the Apollo astronauts used to train for the moon. It looks just like a crater because it is a crater. It's a volcanic crater. And the cinder cone you can see across the way is, of course, volcanic, as is all the other peaks you can see in the distance. It's all a giant volcanic field. Anyway, they trained here on how to navigate the moon, and they also used the lunar rover here as well. How do you drive in these conditions? How do you navigate in such crazy climates and slopes and everything else? And so, as you can see, I go around the rim here and show you a bunch of different angles. But this does look like a lunar landscape if you get rid of all the sagebrush there. And it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's out there for everyone to enjoy. I think you guys should go out and see it sometime. It's really an amazing place. Lunar Crater National Monument. This is the dust coming up off of a playa not far away. This is Lunar Lake. Now, the place we were at, seeing the crater, is right over there. So now you can see this dry lake bed. This is what they call a playa. And it's covered in lava rock and dust. In the previous video, you saw the dust coming up off of this. So this is where that dust came from.